Over the past 6 months, there have been eye-opening sex scandals in China's official circles, and four female officials have been dubbed the Four Beauties of modern China, or as some media call them, the Four Sleeping Beauties. Of course, sleeping here means more than sleeping. According to the Chinese Communist Party media, it refers to inappropriate relationships with male officials. They are Ms. Dai, a deputy director of the Commerce Bureau of a district in Yangzhou, an affluent city in China; Ms. Chen, a deputy district governor in Chengdu City; Ms. Wu, an official in the Communist Youth League in Anhui province; and Ms. Zhang, a notoriously pretty police officer in Jilin City, northeast China. Ms. Dai, a deputy director of a district commerce bureau in southern China, hit the hotspots recently. She was caught by a camera installed by her husband when having an affair with the vice mayor of Yangzhou. It was then reported to the government's disciplinary committee. Because this news instantly exploded on the Chinese internet, it became difficult to cover. Soon, the local government issued a notice stating that they would investigate the lifestyle problems of related leader cadres. But what surprised the public was that the male subject of the scandal, the vice mayor of Yangzhou City, was replaced by a much lower-ranking official, the vice mayor of a nearby city. The latest news is that Dai confessed to as many as 24 people who were involved in the improper relationship with her, including the deputy secretary of the Yangzhou Municipal Party Committee. Some netizens have speculated that perhaps the lower-level deputy mayor who was publicly notified was sacrificed to protect the leaders above him. On January 13, 2023, the man was officially dismissed. Ms. Dai, the female subject in the scandal, was recommended to be removed from her post. However, many Chinese netizens believe that removing both male and female officials is just a matter of moving them to a different locality where they continue to work. It's not really a removal or dismissal. If nothing else, they would return to their jobs in a few years' time. That's why there are comments like, "Vice Mayor Wei, the one who got fired, has carried all the burden by himself and preserved the Communist Party officials' organization." According to officially verifiable information, Ms. Dai was born in 1993 and is 29 years old. She has moved through 5 roles in 10 years and is now deputy director of the Commerce Bureau of the district in Yangzhou City. Her career trajectory can be considered rather rare in the official circles of the CCP. Her academic background has been questioned by the public as to why she was able to get into the civil service at the age of 19. If she really graduated with an ordinary bachelor's degree, that means she studied in college at the age of 15. Even if she studied at a vocational school, she would have entered college at 16 years old. It's normally the age for a high school student. In addition, over the past few years, wherever Ms. Dai was, there were tidbits about her. People in the know also revealed the early photos of Ms. Dai. Her look is so different from now. This was Ms. Dai 10 years ago. It can be said that with the rise of her position, her appearance also improved significantly. At the same time, the personal items she used also became more luxurious. For example, the crystal high heels in the picture are over $1,000, and the Chanel Le Boy bag costs roughly $9,000. The second Sleeping Beauty is Ms. Dai's fellow alumna, Ms. Chen. On December 16, 2022, an intimate conversation between the 41-year-old deputy head of a district and a 50-year-old male official, also a deputy district head, surfaced on the Chinese internet and immediately made it to the top hot searches on Weibo, the social media in China. Although they are both deputy district chiefs, the male official usually holds much more power compared to the female counterpart. Both are married and have families. According to the screenshots of their WeChat conversation, the two district officials exchange intimate texts during working hours containing explicit content. The woman appeared overly enthusiastic and forthcoming, while the male official seemed preoccupied and even ran off on a sudden tangent to a national matter. For example, he texted, "The Fan Bingbing, a popular Chinese actress's incident, has exposed the US agenda against China, and it's alarming." By the next day, on the afternoon of December 17th, the name of the male official was no longer listed on the district's official government website. The name of the female official remained, however, her photo can't be viewed. On December 16, 2022, the outbreak in Chengdu was already spreading like wildfire. This scandal has upset Chinese people. They wrote, "During the special period of the outbreak, the masses have no access to medicine and the hospital is overcrowded. Yet, the two are actually flirting with each other and speaking obscenely. It's really degrading." The chat records of the male and female deputy heads of Changhua district were exposed, and how wild the chat was made people's jaws drop. These two deputy heads, all they think about is how can there be any thought for the people? Scum. Terrible. These are just the tip of the iceberg, I guess. This district's authorities issued a public notice the next day saying they noticed the online dissemination of information about this district's officials and were currently checking it out to understand the matter. The subsequent notice stated that it was recommended that the two civil servants be removed from office. The same peculiar thing happened. The female protagonist remained the same, but the male protagonist was replaced. Another low-ranking official was substituted for the one who was recommended to be removed from office. Coincidentally, the two Sleeping Beauties are 12 years apart and graduated from the same program at the same university. The third one is Ms. Wu, a 35-year-old female director of the Anhui Provincial Communist Youth League Committee. At 1 a.m. one day in early November 2022, a message was sent to various WeChat groups in this city's official circles, roughly stating that Wu Fangyuan had intercourse with at least 11 male colleagues. The message detailed the names of 11 officials who were all influential local individuals. The netizens have speculated that it's likely that a sad and angry man used Ms. Wu's phone to send such a text. So how credible is the text? After the incident, the organization of Anhui Young Entrepreneurs published a briefing which claimed that Wu was a temporary employee. It means that Ms. Wu doesn't belong to the official CCP system, but rather a temporary worker. The Communist Youth League organization quickly cut ties with Ms. Wu. It's an indication that the information is most likely true. In the end, the matter is left unresolved. The fourth Sleeping Beauty, Ms. Zhang, a journalist for China Police Network, is known as the most beautiful policewoman in China. In July 2022, it was revealed that she was suspected of being a mistress to a top executive of a new energy company. A number of indecent videos of her with the man were even circulated online. In the video, the two were not only intimate, but the conversation was indecent. It said that the video was put out by the man and the public has speculated that he wanted to show off. According to public information, China Police is a comprehensive portal site supervised by the Chinese Ministry of Public Security and sponsored by the People's Public Security Daily. Because of Zhang's outstanding looks and her background in public security institutions, she immediately sparked a lively discussion among the public. Zhang often covers police news on ChinaPolice.com and enjoys a positive and sunny image. There are still photos of her in military uniform on the internet, but her indecent videos have destroyed the public perception of her, what was originally a wholesome image of Chinese female police officers. Up to today, neither the two individuals nor their units have responded to the videos. These were the four of the most explosive scandals in the CCP officialdom over the past 6 months. It's actually nothing new to the Chinese people, except that it's getting increasingly more shocking in scale. In 2014, the Communist Party's Central Commission for Discipline and Inspection notified the investigation of 2 female officials in Shanxi. For the first time, the phrase adultery with another person was used. One of them was a former mayor. Her report read that the investigation revealed that the official had maintained long-term lover relationships with a number of her superiors and subordinates. The other was a high-ranking official at the provincial level. In 2022, a fallen State Tax Bureau director in northeast China wowed the public. The city where she was based is the largest steel industry city in northeast China. Miss Liu was originally an ordinary employee of the Tax Bureau. She was born into an ordinary miner's family in the city. It means that she had no official background or backing power, but Miss Liu is 1.72 meters tall and enjoys a nice physical appearance. She took advantage of her extraordinary value and invested heavily in cosmetic surgery. According to Chinese media reports, she spent nearly $750,000 on plastic surgery in places like Hong Kong, and spent about $75,000 on her buttocks alone. It made her known as the most beautiful butt in the city. In just a few years, she became the director of the Anshan National Tax Bureau, achieving promotions at a rocket speed. Going back in time, in 1999, a well-known fallen female official said something like, "In a society where men are in power, only women who know how to fully exploit men can be considered truly brilliant women." This female official, whose education was only that of a middle school level, started out as a warehouse keeper. According to Chinese media reports, she eventually won a vice provincial official position by sleeping with 40 male officials. So, why are there so many scandals in China under the CCP regime? And why have Chinese women, historically conservative, changed so much? We have observed that the CCP, while on the surface telling society that people should be conservative in these areas, calls for a discreet and traditional approach when conducting relationships between men and women. Thus, you'll find there are no explicit red light districts and many related occupations are illegal in China. In practice, however, with the so-called reform and opening up that began in the 1980s, the communist government has approved the operation of dance halls, bars, nightclubs, private clubs, and various massage and physiotherapy establishments throughout the country. They look like normal legal establishments on the surface with secrets behind them. Behind these entertainment venues, public security departments and local officials are backing them up. Even senior officials frequently visit them. The CCP conducts a so-called anti-pornography campaign almost every year, but in reality it has been secretly indulging in these activities because they are just one of the bizarre ways used by the CCP to control the people. In addition, government media and websites in China are flooded with child inappropriate images. Some Chinese scholars even openly advocate for the right of a one-night stand and other extreme behaviors. Why does the CCP indulge in pornography, gangsterism, and corruption? It's because it wants to keep the people hooked on the temptation of alcohol, drugs, lust, and money so that they don't have time or interest to think about more serious issues, including what's happening with the country and the nation. Surely they wouldn't think about the wrong measures of this Red Party. In summary, people won't have time to think or think clearly to break the mind control of the CCP. The women in question may lose their reputation and become public laughingstocks, but official scandals aren't a problem for officials with real power, especially male officials. They aren't even ashamed of them. After the publicity is over, it hardly affects their promotion trajectory in the officialdom. In the Communist Party's official circles, talented and beautiful women without backing will have a harder time moving up the ladder. They are likely to encounter a lot of harassment from their superiors. They will have to face whether to go along or refuse and maintain their personal innocence and dignity. Should they choose to go along with it or refuse it to maintain their dignity? If they choose the latter, their career will be full of obstacles. Surely, if they have strong backing, such as a powerful husband or family, it would be a different story. Under the influence of the Communist Party culture, the entire society worships money and power while indulging in personal desires. So, for female officials, choosing to sleep their way to promotion is becoming an increasingly easy choice. When the official media of the CCP cracks down on pornography or gangsters, they often make the excuse that it's the Western society of American imperialism that has corrupted China. In truth, this isn't anything new or a newly formed unspoken rule among CCP officials, but actually a tradition that has been passed down since the founding of the CCP. Women being promoted by sleeping around has been a tradition since the CCP's old times. In the 1930s and 1940s, tempted by CCP propaganda, young intellectual men and women traveled thousands of miles to the CCP's home base, Yan'an, in search of the so-called communist utopian paradise. What attracted these young people most to the communist theory at the time was the rejection of the traditional family concept and the so-called pursuit of liberty. In the utopian paradise created by Marx and Engels, founders of communism, women are completely liberated from domestic work. Their children are sent to nurseries and kindergartens and given to society to be raised. There are public canteens for meals. Women would become economically independent and no longer depend on men. They would stop being the private property of men. Gradually, the family would disappear. The bonds of marriage would be loosened or even dissolved, and the relationship between men and women would be free from all economic or social constraints. Rather, it would depend entirely on their feelings and desires. After the October Revolution in Russia, this led to the development of the glass of water theory. It means that relations between men and women were as common as drinking water from a glass and could be changed whenever one wanted. So, long before the CCP regime took power, the glass of water theory became popular in all the areas controlled by the CCP. Temporary couples were everywhere. Senior CCP officials were the first to take the exemplary lead. In the cave dwellings of Yan'an, the so-called Holy Land of the Red Revolution, dance parties were held almost every night, and the senior leaders were surrounded by young women who demanded progress. Today, the scandalous news of the Four Sleeping Beauties has rocked China's internet, and the graphic and offensive videos and text messages are flooding the internet, sending the Chinese public into a frenzy. This is exactly what the Chinese Communist government wants to achieve. China's internet police work hard, but they give the green light to such content. The Communist Party has opened the way for more public prying, commenting, jeering, venting, desensitizing, and driving the overall morality of the nation downward rapidly.